Chris.
Take that.
Awesome. This morning, this is why I was 30 seconds late, because I had to remember to read our new coffee sponsor information. I'll do in a second. So thank you to the Institute for Entrepreneurship, who allows us to meet in this place, and Jim, who helps us run things. To Isolation Coffee for providing us with the coffee that we had this morning, and to Brian Hanning, who I'll read you what I'm supposed to read to you now. Brian Hanning is an attorney who works with entrepreneurs and small businesses to create no-nonsense contracts and makes protecting your brand a breeze with trademark search and filing. I have used Brian. He's awesome. Me too. His website is that damn lawyer. So forget about Brian.
Scanning Ltd is a company and that day. Quick thank you again to Mike with GoPositive.biz for sponsoring us for the last month.
All right, introductions. Anyone feel like introducing themselves? Anyone new? Well, I don't recognize.
All right, I'll promise I could.
I'm just, I guess I'm a telecom professional, but I'm here to work grant.
Just Grant's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, welcome. Other folks want to go?
I haven't gotten in a while.
Great, thanks.
I'm Rich Light. I am a business and life coach and entrepreneur and great community. Thanks for being here. Thanks for our speakers.
And we usually try to do one more.
Anybody online?
Oh, yeah.
I'll go. No one
Okay.
else will. Yeah, I'm Ben Bear. I'm one of the organizers of the organizing team here for 1 Million Cups NOCO. I'm a corporate refugee, used to run a division of Bayer Healthcare. I've been the first employee at a failed software startup, B2B SaaS. And I've spent a lot of time in the last couple of years helping out the nonprofit space, maker spaces, creator spaces, and doing 1 Million Cups. I've been an organizer for 6 years, so good times.
Doing a great job at all of those things. Announcements is our second part. We've done introductions. Any events we should know about? I'll read them. There. Curt.
I've got free thing, which is kind of the free sample of what local think tank does. That is next week on the 12th. I'm pretty certain 4 to 6 p.m. at my office. So it's a happy hour free thing. Chips and blocked and we've got room for probably 2 or 3 more signups. I think we've got 6 signed up already. So I want to say it's 12. Yeah.
And where's the office?
And the office is downtown Fort Collins, 317 Stover, but don't just show up, register on the website
Yeah.
and it'll have their address there. It's right behind.
Can you drop a link into the chat?
Yeah.
I thought it was on Vine this time. The website,
No,
website or something says Vine.
online. Oh, maybe we're having it at the Vine location. Yeah, we've got a conference space over there. I forgot. Okay.
Next Friday, the Project Management Institute Symposium in Denver. So if you work in the project management space or just find a student, this one I think is put on by PMI. It's a big one next Friday.
That paid conference?
Yeah, it's yeah, it is. I can't remember how much. Not free.
It's on the slide and on the board, but Venture Rams Business Showcase is on April 18th. So please come out and support all the CSU students and their founding teams. They'll be showcasing their businesses, doing some pitch competition, and lots of good stuff. I've been to a couple of events for that particular thing, and they're always a good time. So come out and support the local entrepreneurship environment here at CSU. And also, I still, again, have no further updates about Boulder Startup Week. I don't know if anybody's heard or seen anything. Theoretically, May Boulder Startup Week, DVD.
Natalie has filled all of our slots for April.
Yes.
Ooh, all right.
Natalie. So if you are interested or know somebody who wants to present May 3rd and beyond. But April is full. Barring people getting sick.
Good darn.
What's going on?
Typhoid.
Or snowstorm. Yeah, then we'll push everybody back. All right, any other announcements? Did you two decide who's going first?
Yes.
Saw the Roshan brothers.
Yeah, winner had to go first. So,
All right, so then our first presenter today, and now I'm getting us back on time.
Sweet.
Will be Curt Bear. Curt, as he was just talking about, runs LoCo Think Tank and the LoCo Experience podcast. And today he's going to be sharing with us about Halos.
Halos relation.
And Kurt's fun fact is that he's from North Dakota, where they got 4 feet of snow yesterday.
What yesterday, but there's 4 feet.
It's 4 feet on the ground. Yeah, so they got a
Yeah.
blizzard yesterday. There's now 4 feet on the ground.
Yeah, my family are farmers, and so this is about the time that they like to be putting seeds in the ground. So not happening today, yeah. So cheers.
Good job.
And then I will time you, so.
Okay. So for those that haven't seen me talk before, or maybe have but forgotten me, I'm Curt. My business name is LoCo Think Tank, and that's this one. I'm also the host of the LoCo Experience podcast, which is this one. I've done 108, or released 108 long form conversational interviews, and then something that I've been studying, I guess, maybe the last almost 2 years is Halos relational intelligence, and specifically using their triads methodology to help understand ourselves better. And for some context, with LoCo Think Tank, we build chapters, up to 12 members per chapter, half a day, once a month meetings, kind of like a board of directors for your small business, but with other business owners as your board members. So the purpose of investing in Halos has been to ensure that we actually do have the diversity that I've been saying that we do. I like to call myself the mixologist, and this tool helps me affirm the diversity of the group and really help them develop a common language that they can understand different thinking types. So,
Click there.
there it goes. Okay. So Halos is something that most of you have probably never heard about. It's a Brazilian methodology. It's pretty popular in South America and in Europe, where the founder did some of his doctoral studies. But nobody's heard of it here, which made it great for LoCo because I didn't have to favor one, DISC or Myers-Briggs or something. It was a fresh language to everybody. And I've done a 24-hour certification, as well as about 10 workshops with both my members and outside organizations that wanted to learn something new. It's really the next step in intelligence, really. So there's the logical intelligence is kind of that, patriarchal brain, hierarchies and things. Emotional intelligence has gotten a lot of traction lately. It's great to understand what other people are feeling and maybe imagine what they're thinking. But relational intelligence is really more allowing us to act based on what we know about how other people behave and act. What can we say to them and with them, and how can we collaborate better? But through that, we increase our self-awareness, recognize the diversity of the room, and help build stronger relationships. I like to describe these 5 types with kind of that visual map you saw there. So the white type is the thinker, a lot of philosophy, a lot of ideas, very messy desk. That's kind of the blank space person. The blue is really the logical brain, the organizer planner, somebody that has a place for everything and every place. The green is like the relational, social relational, people first always. I don't care what they think of my work really, as long as they like me. And they can also be dramatic or overly sensitive, fail to take people to task. The orange type is like the gut, the drive, the determination. That's the achiever, entrepreneur type. And then finally, the integrator is like kind of weaving through all of those. They're very deep thinkers. They're very slow sometimes, or at least the orange feels that way. But they're also very seldom. The founder believes that almost no company is scaled from $1 to $10 million without a brown type on their team, because they understand the complexity of getting things all work together. So Halos is a little bit like the yin and the yang in terms of the way things work. And so you see that there's a main essence and a complementary. That's the 1 and 2 rings on the outside here. And they contend against one another to really see how the perspective that you're seeing the world and approaching challenges and relationships is. The third type in the center is built up over time. So the notion is that you're born with your external types, your main archetypes, if you will. And then based on your activities, that's what develops over time. So this is actually me. I'm a white-green. White has tons of ideas. They like to have philosophical discussions, hence the podcast and things. And the green is all about community, bringing people together, i.e. LoCo think tank, local community think tank. It's for bringing people together to think. And then the orange is the achiever entrepreneur. I'm the son of an entrepreneur. I now have a business. I've been a banker for over 15 years in my career. I've just been in it. It's developed it. The other thing that is important to understand is that there's polarity. White isn't better than green, isn't better than brown, isn't better than orange. Whites have significant strengths and they have significant weak spots. My email has 417 unread emails, roughly 700 emails total. And so sometimes I get lost. And so the challenge is really to understand how we can keep ourselves in the positive side of the polarity. If we recognize that we're being a drama queen and we're a green type, well, maybe we can activate our orange and get some tasks done and quit feeling so sorry for ourselves. And so that's what a deeper training really helped me, is how to recognize and move yourself from your stuck spot and to spend way more time in the upside of your polarities and your strengths. So the white types are, lots of ideas. They're farsighted. They see things 5 years ahead. Sometimes the scouts get the arrows. They're kind of weird. So the mad scientist type, but also kind of the visionary. And then, the importance of deadlines and details and stuff is fairly lost upon them. The blue type makes a great partner for a white type because they can keep things organized. They can take the idea and help see the steps from taking that idea to an actionable thing. They can be kind of cold, resistant to change. They have a harder time connecting with people than a green, obviously, but even more than almost anybody in some ways. The blue type is really, maybe people are more like pieces of a machine than people. That's a little bit over the top, but the green, of course, is that social relational. So, every team has a nicer, more fun working environment if there's a strong green type on there. Greens love plants in their offices. They love beautiful places. They, it's really all about the team. When I started LoCo, for me, it wasn't about the perspective because I do that pretty good. It wasn't necessarily about the encouragement, it was about the accountability. So having a team of people to report to, maybe not want to let them down. So that's my motivational thing, is doing it for the team. We can also flip flop in a hurry. Oops, what's going on here? Oops. Okay.
It's not you, it's.
Okay, we can also kind of go from happy to sad. We can be melancholy and down. That's 7 already. Okay, I got 2 more slides. Oranges are very task oriented. They get it done. And they can run over people and really be kind of workaholics or ruthless and maybe not the most humble people around. There's an orange type right over here. Brown types understand the complexity. They can put it all together. They like to go deep and they're slow comparatively. So sometimes you have to poke the browns to let them know that they have enough information. They have all they're going to get. It's time to move. Finally, who do you think you are? And so I would love to, during the Q&A, have a couple of questions on that. Or you to suggest a guest for yourself. And I have two of your team that filled out the triad assessment, Jenny and Dane here. So any guesses from you guys or with you guys? What types these two are?
Are we selling?
Well, I'm typically late to things that may be brown.
Depends on the reason why.
Yeah.
Which one, blue again?
Blue's the organizer planner.
With no people still.
Definitely not green.
I think you're like complimentary.
The white is the big ideas, orange is the gut drive. Green is that relational person, the organizer, brown is the integrator.
You're white,
Yeah,
brown.
yeah,
you're
white,
white.
White and blue,
I'm like right through the middle.
so you think.
I think.
Oh.
I think I'm no orange.
No. Well, here's. You guys are both white.
Oh, I am orange.
With you, some orange developed and you, the blue developed, so you were pretty accurate. You guys didn't call out the browns necessarily, but I think Peter's a white brown. as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm white brown.
So that's, like, we have almost no white browns in our whole little think tank, which is pretty interesting. Lot of oranges,
Sound familiar?
our CEOs are like 70% orange or maybe 90% orange is one of their base colors. And yeah, this is my contact page. You can find more information on Halos if you want to scan that thing there. Otherwise, it's just on our website on the About Us page. I did a talk for Disrupt HR last fall, a 5-minute talk with twice as many slides. So, but it's a little bit more comprehensive just because of the slides. So thanks. Sorry for somebody asked me a question there.
Well, Sally said she had her colors.
Oh, yeah, Sally, what are your colors?
I was the white, orange, green when we did it last fall.
Okay, great.
Well, that's a question.
Oh, there you are. Yep.
Do you change over time or is it pretty, I mean?
The founder believes that the external rings are archetypal. They're
Okay.
essential to your being. As soon as you can take the test, that's what your colors can be. And then the other one changes over time and
Okay.
intensity based on who you need to be.
Okay.
And then third type I should really mention brings balance and pacification. So your first is kind of your main lens, your second kind of contends with that lens. But when you activate, like when you organize, do you feel kind of warm or inside?
I aspire to be.
White stuff, thinking about stuff randomly.
Really? Okay. Well, you aspire. Well, it is a developing thing and
Right.
take note, if when you spend 40 minutes organizing, if that feels less anxious for you.
I do remember down in the ton math was on running too much time relabeling them.
So I'd love to have any questions that you guys might have.
Just a quick question, is there any kind of feedback you were looking for from this presentation? Like,
Yeah, I guess, I suppose, yeah, what would be an effective way to inform about this that's useful to people without being sales pitchy?
2 weeks ago. You're actually about an hour away from going for right now. People interviewing today.
I think your speaker's on it.
Danny, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. So I have a question. Curt, I guess most of your clients are like kind of a sole owner on type entrepreneurs. Most of the venture type businesses, we encourage people to start a company as a team. And I'm wondering that color combination you talked about, is there any research on what is ideal kind of the color combinations that people see on successful venture where it's a team of 2 or 3 people as a founder to get, kind of venture type of very fast growth and exit type of scenario?
Well, sir, first to your first point, the bulk of our members actually have more than 10 employees. 10 to 400 employees is our probably 75% of our members. We only have 2 small chapters for the under 5 employee demographic. So just a clarification there. And Orange, that achiever entrepreneur, if that's not you as a founder, it would be the first thing I would look for in somebody else to help prod and overcome, because perspiration and perseverance is usually a necessary combination. And of those larger company owners and our facilitators, which have been the founders of larger enterprises typically as well, at least 70% of them have orange as one of their base colors. Orange and blue is very common. Orange and white is also very common. And then coming later, green is oftentimes more of a developed trait. They had to learn how to be nice to people who you liked. So that would be the biggest indicator to me. Denny would be, some significant orange in there essentially. It's not in the idea person. If you're a white brown, that doesn't mean you can't be successful. But I think it would be advisable when you have room for teammates or partners to give somebody with a lot of horsepower. And a lot of times that's the orange. And I also theorize that like a lot of alcoholics are like oranges that haven't succeeded. And so they've got this desire to achieve, but they're not fulfilling it. Or maybe they're a green type that just isn't really likable or whatever. And I don't know whatever that looks like. But when people are really experiencing life that's very contrary to one of their essential characteristics, it very much increases that risk of isolation.
All right, so just coming back to your ask and the presentation standpoint, for me, I felt like you spent a lot of time talking about halos, and that was kind of like, I don't know if that was the point, is to introduce the actual program, but for me, if you're asking how can I present this more as like an idea, I want to hear and talk about more of the problem, which is interpersonal dynamics, right? This is a tool to solve the challenge of interpersonal dynamics in dyadic relationships.
That's really great.
It's great if you want to deep dive into this, if that's your purpose, but if your purpose is to talk, how do you present this as a potentially useful thing?
Yeah.
You need to talk more about the problem.
What problem are we trying to solve?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's really good.
And then you can talk, and then the other thing personally I'd like to see is that there's actually a lot of content about Myers-Briggs being completely irrelevant. It was founded, the foundation of it was not based in psychological.
Take that elephant head on.
So understand if this is a problem that you're trying to solve and this is a tool that you're using to solve it, why what are the benefits? What are the the results that have been seen from it? But again, bring the conversation on the problem, not on the features of the tool.
Yeah, thank you. Those are both really good pieces of advice. I have a teammate, Deb, who's also a white green. And we her first interview, I spent 2 hours with her. It's this interview time is over, but you want to just go for a coffee, and anyway, Deb has been in the tech industry and different things and done all the tests and was kind of cynical about most of it. And then as we started unfolding Halos and she started learning more about it, she was like, this is the first one that I really wanted to embrace and felt like it was actually actionable. That's really the goal. And it's hard to unfold that in 5 minutes, but I love that.
That's a good story, figuring out how to encapsulate that and just be hey, this is maybe something that's a little bit different, or even acknowledging the fact that, because you said it's used in these other places, but it's still, at least from what I just looked up a little while ago, it's pretty young concept, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you're kind of proving the methodology as it's going, but I think there's an opportunity to, again, the real problem is how do we interact with each other.
No, that's really very good.
Well, one of the things I think that you're really a great place to talk about is how you've seen it help your board of directors.
Yeah.
I think that would be even more powerful because you could talk through, change the names a little, but what kind of an example somebody came in with, they had this problem, my God, and
Yeah.
the team, which is made up of
Yeah.
these different groups.
Here's the problem we're trying to solve, and here's a case where.
And here
We made
you
it
can
fit
see
that.
how they worked it through, and it was because whatever. I think that would be really, really powerful support for what you're talking about.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah, your voice, I just want to hear you tell a story. So I feel like, this is very factual and to the point, but I think if you just embrace that story aspect, of it, it'd be great.
Just do an interview with her. Just, okay, fine. Give me more.
Well, thank you. I'll go back and listen to the feedback again, especially and what that looks like.
Okay, thank you.
Is it time for coffee?
Yes, it's time for coffee.
There is.
And there is. Oh, yeah.
So you have 2.5 minutes.
Ready, go.
Put this here for just a moment. Otherwise, it's stuck on the floor. You got plenty of orange?
What's that?
You must have plenty of orange.
I have no idea, I'm sure, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
And I think they can be. But I think it's a little prohibitive idea. Myself. It's very, very. I'm sure there's some underlying. Never gonna get rid of that.
I'm always gonna think.
In a certain way.
And I think that's what the point is, right in the middle, you can. And I know, at least, I don't know if the Myers-Briggs is realistic or not, but I remember taking the Myers-Briggs a couple of different times, and I was super extroverted and introverted at times. And then I was in a role that needed me to be extroverted, and then I was much more extroverted.
So we're interesting. Yeah, and it's hard to try to, but it's even some sort of abundant, obvious. And that's a good thing.
Are you
I'm more orange. I thought it was more white, but I'm not.
Well, but there's truth to comment that I have run people over.
So I did.
I did pick them up.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Just getting back to the workshop, we're having.
Setting up
halfway
somebody.
through a 100-mile ride.
If I was.
I got the-
My life. Oh, no. So I was. Workshops, motorcycle home.
There's so many electronics now. Like, well, I'm just coming in on there, but so we recharge your light, all that kind of stuff.
It's 9:32.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
I did not get more coffee.
I was gonna say.
That's fine.
Uh-oh.
I'll go ask you. I can't yell at myself. All right, so Grant Ross is our second presenter. He is going to present about city ticket. Which is about a second. And his fun fact is that he has been to 13 countries.
Wow.
Favorite one?
Everyone's Japan, easily.
Some people like Japan.
Oh,
Isn't it?
It was a great place, like just the environment, the people, and the food. I would definitely go back. We were just talking about it this morning. Well, hello, good morning. Well, hi, I'm Grant Ross, founder of City Ticket here in Fort Collins, and today I am requesting feedback on delivery and overall concept of my business for a 10% stake in my company. No, I'm kidding. But I would love some feedback on my business overall before launch this summer in Fort Collins. So without further ado, I know I'm not the only one when I say this, but I love saving money. As a consumer myself, I find every exclusive deal on things I enjoy. From grabbing a coffee or getting a workout in or grabbing a bite to eat at a restaurant. I love saving money. Just like me, here's Riley. She's a college student, interning in her last year. She works 2 jobs and is very active in her community. Just like similar to all of us in the room, she also likes to save money. However, in her situation, she rarely has money to save, nonetheless due to things that she enjoys. Everything that she needs, like her morning cup of coffee or a workout, she would have to pay for it constantly. She feels as though her money is just withering away. The more she spends, the less she saves. She will always wonder when there will be a time where she could do both. So that poses the questions for small businesses. How can you capture and retain most customers in a particular area? You got your way. Reward points. Local customers are finding alternative ways to save money. Given a particular environment, small businesses are usually on the front end of business, causing their revenue to be sliced. From customers making their own food or coffee to at-home workouts to ultimately giving up and going to big businesses due to their cheap prices and their new digital rewards app. Things that are very, very expensive for small businesses and they can't afford. City Ticket solves this problem for both the customer and the small businesses. So here's some data on why this is important. In 2020, 3.3 million business owners were forced to close. That was like around 22% of all businesses in the United States. In 2021, that number grew to 34% due to COVID. These trying times aren't kind to small businesses, especially with giants like Amazon, DoorDash, Starbucks, you name it, Chick-fil-A looming around. Depending on the environment, small businesses usually have a hard time competing with high revenue companies due to money, lack of revenue. City Ticket identified these struggles to be lack of committed clientele, lack of advertisement, and ultimately lack of revenue. So what does City Ticket do? So remember, City Ticket is a shared all-in-one digital rewards app. So with City Ticket, you get in-app ordering at local businesses. You also get to prioritize your loyal customers, and that entails like skipping the line. You know, I know you guys been to like a Hilton. You have like your whole Hilton honor line. Also, you get seamless checkout without manpower. You get to track digital reward points for the customer, and then also you get to elevate your local online brand with advertisement and marketing. So how does it work? Again, City Ticket is a shared rewards program where customers are rewarded when they spend at partner locations. So you guys remember Riley? Take her for example. She loves drinking coffee and she loves going to the gym. 2 things she's going to do regardless. Coffee and gym. With City Ticket, she's able to do both with a click of a button. So first, she pulls out her phone, opens up the City Ticket application and orders a $50 membership at Prodigy Fitness. In the app, that $50 purchase is converted to 500 reward points for suited location, paired location, Harbinger Coffee. Then her new QR code generated through the app, she's able to go and redeem her reward at Harbinger Coffee to enjoy. Now that she's made her redemption, she then goes and spends at Harbinger Coffee to then rack up reward points for parent location, Prodigy Fitness. From there, the cycle continues. So with City Ticket, the customers benefit greatly with them being able to save time and money in that order. More importantly, City Ticket benefits the partners tremendously with more committed clientele. It is more advantageous for customers to spend at these partner locations because they get rewarded at these locations. More advertising. City Ticket serves as an avenue of frontline advertising direct to the customer. More foot traffic. The more people on the app, the more opportunity for businesses to get people outside of their focus market to spend at their location. More networking opportunities, which extends their customer base and ultimately more revenue. All these benefits factor into more revenue and people spending at their business. City Ticket acquires the customer with social influencing, digital marketing, and grassroots marketing, and retains them with top of the line rewards program and the best mobile interface. So in conclusion, I'm gonna paint a picture for you. So Riley gets up in the morning, pretty late for classes in a jam-packed day. She wants to stop at her local coffee shop beforehand, because she doesn't have much time. So she gets on the app, purchases a latte through the app, arrives at the coffee shop, skips a line and scans her QR code to be fulfilled. Once she receives her coffee, she's on her way to make her first class. Now, with her purchase, she earns reward points for parent location, her local bar. After a long week of madness and coffee runs, she treats herself with a night out with friends at her local bar. She checks her City Ticket mobile app and discovers she has redeemable reward points. She decides to cash out and receives her first redemption at bar. Now, with City Ticket's technology, the app directs the customer to spend the next night at said bar to rack up reward points for parent location, a local coffee shop. She's now in the cycle, dedicating her money within the web of partners, incentivized with the convenience of in-app purchases, money-saving reward points, and a web of partners of her daily merchants. Businesses get to have new loyal customers and an online presence and a broader range of clientele spending at their location. This example is from a real-world beta test from our MVP from 2 businesses in Colorado Springs. With this test, City Ticket was able to project a 50% increase in both foot traffic and transactions per day, with a 33% increase in ticket price. This shows significant growth in revenue at these businesses. So before questions, I have a question for you guys. Where's your City Ticket? Guys, thank you. So here's my ask page. Any questions? Mr. Mike.
I knew you'd be disappointed if I didn't answer this question. So how are you gonna make money?
Great question. So every transaction through the app, it's a 10% commission. So every transaction from the app, we have a commission from it. So every
percentage
10%
of every transaction through the app.
through the app.
So if they buy coffee, you get 10% of that coffee?
So it ranges. It's with the contract. So with the beta test, it ranges in terms of like the amount of commission, but the baseline is 10%.
Say a bigger, but like a bigger transaction would be more or less on as a percentage.
For example, like for that example that we have in there with the gym, if it was a $50 membership to be at the gym, we'll take 10% of that $50. Now, with some other contracts with coffee, I know like the margins are like, yeah, yeah, I know. That commission does range, but again, it's only on the business that we're bringing to the company, not everyday sales. So like their normal processes it stays the same. Yes.
My question was, how does it affect the businesses that sell like very cheap things versus the businesses that sell expensive stuff? Like, say you get a bunch of points from the gym and then you go to the coffee shop and you have points, then you get like a free coffee, which disadvantages the coffee shop versus the gym. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the rewards program, the actual like structure of it is that you had to pay a certain amount to reach whatever threshold that is allotted for reward points. Does that make sense? So like if you pay, you have to pay like a certain amount, let's say it's $30 to reach one threshold to be able to cash out, to get, hey, I want a reward. So like I can't just like willy-nilly and say, oh, I paid $5 here, I should get something here. You have to reach certain thresholds in order to.
At each business?
At each business. Yes.
Your delivery is awesome, especially your ability to make eye contact and just speak with confidence. So you got that down, no problem. The business is a little all over the place, if you ask me. It lacks a lot of focus. And I think you got a balance between either building the tool that people will utilize. So that way you're not focused as much on consumer distribution. You're more looking at this is a tool for the businesses to use and you're more B2B. Or if you're doing consumer, I mean, it's just an incredibly hard business to do. And you have to first show that you're going to be able to do that, of get consumers utilizing this at scale. See that?
Appreciate that.
I'm gonna second just what Eric just said, your delivery, especially the eye contact was great. I saw you looking around, making eye contact throughout the room, so your presence throughout the room is on point. Good job with that. As far as the content, I would personally say drop the entire stuff about your story about that person. I don't think, again, it builds a lot of context for what you're trying to do. That's my personal thing, and then also personal pet peeve, spending more to save more drives me nuts. I don't know how that feels for anybody else, but personally, I absolutely despise that. Take that for what it is from a grain of salt. I feel like kind of similar, I gave similar feedback to Curt, like I feel like you need to spend more time on the problem, which is ultimately, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but ultimately small businesses lack the functionality of scale, right? Like my local coffee shop is competing with Starbucks. Like Starbucks has a massive multi-billion or $1 million budget that they can throw at a rewards app that they can develop and market and push all this stuff. So how are you're effectively talking about creating a collective of local businesses to give them the power of scale through that like collective, right? So I think there's an opportunity there to sharpen up, crispen up that message about what exactly the problem is and how this is solving it. And also creating clarity on that B2B versus B2C part, because I agree with Eric, you're kind of like bouncing all over the place. So yeah.
I appreciate that. And then like, again, City Ticket is like you mentioned it before, like Starbucks has their way to make their own in-house IT shop to have like these big apps where people are kind of eating up. You see it all the time, where small business don't really have the opportunity. And City Ticket is kind of that
in that, right? You spend a lot of time talking about the process, the whole like looping. Everybody pretty much that you're going to be talking to has used some sort of reward platform. They understand the process. So don't waste that time. Like use that time to talk about this problem and how you're providing the ability to leverage this community and this like drive for people wanting to shop local and wanting to support local businesses, and that you're creating a tool that allows them to compete at scale with others that have this financial, the financial wherewithal that they don't.
And that's where the story becomes really powerful. Yeah, that's the problem. The story should focus on the problem, not so much the process, because I think that's where you're gonna get the emotional hook, and that's when people will start to pay attention. And then the link to local, I think, is really, I didn't really hear a lot of that in there, but I think that's gonna be really powerful for you in terms of what it is you're trying to accomplish and setting the stage.
I just want to help you. We said Dane, and then Rena's online. And then we'll see. We'll see if we can get to Chris and Peter. Sorry. Manage the folks.
Taking everything that's validated, putting it all here. That's awesome. Delivery is fantastic. As far as so I have two perspectives. One is a small business isolation fund. I would love to be on that platform. As a consumer going to Little Bird and then go to Obies, and then go to all these places, and I have all these pictures of cards. I end up with like 5 cards in Yellowbird before I actually take them. Before I take them all in, and I don't, my, reward systems don't drive my behavior, and I'm curious what the research shows. Do reward systems change the way hey, I would rather it be a after the fact, oh, cool, I've shopped these 10 places this past week. And now I can get a free bag of coffee for isolation. So I think there's too much thought process on the part of the consumer here. Having to go into your app, choosing to shop city ticket versus isolation.coffee. And they shop on my website and get rewards their city ticket. And that's the connection I would want to see as both the small business owner and the consumer. The added steps with me.
That was actually a great point with the driving behavior. To answer your question, for now, like, so this is like the MVP. A lot of this stuff, and you guys already know this stuff as well, is you have starting low, just saying like, hey, we're gonna do this really good. We're not gonna go into POS necessarily, that's like straight off the back. But then having the opportunity to say, like, customers saying like, oh, you're on this platform, I would like to share and spend my money with you other than going to like a Starbucks or other places. So yeah, it is an opportunity for businesses to be able to spend at your business and get at your business and also get their rewards as well. You brought up like behavior. So like with punch cards, I know all of you guys have done punch cards. Punch cards doesn't drive my behavior at all, like at all. I never even got, to be honest, I never even got through one punch card, like at all. And I think that's also a driving force why I brought up city ticket as well, is because it also being a shared rewards program, because you're like, oh, everywhere I go, I get a reward, right? Now we're starting off with gyms, coffee shops, bars, and restaurants. But those are the things I feel like people, especially in towns like this, that they value, right? So everything that I spend my money on, I'm able to get rewarded from, so I can keep my money in rebel partners. And that is the driving force for like the whole like reward piece, is that piece.
RJ is gonna be our last question. Or feedback.
Hey, well, feedback. So bravo, everybody's given some amazing feedback. And as I was listening to the feedback that others were giving, I was like, oh, that's what was missing, or yes, I get it. All of the feedback that was given supported me in having a better understanding for wanting to know what your pitch, who it was towards. So I personally would have focused more on the local businesses and also dropped more of the client story or journey. And I really like that you were focused on the small businesses. I thought I was listening to a Shark Tank pitch deck. Your delivery, like everyone said, is spot on. And I also don't like punch cards. I've never gotten through one. I love digital rewards. And I personally would be a user of the app that you created to support local businesses as the clients. And I mean, having a digital business, I probably wouldn't be a like person who's on the platform. I think if you just tweak it a little bit more towards the local businesses, you've got, I mean, you're so close, but this is a grand slam, hands down, and I'm super excited for you and to see where you go with this. So there you go.
Thank you.
You presented 2 weeks ago. All right, thank you. This brings us to the last part of our program this morning. So we do, who had a win this week? Who has a resource to share? Who needs help? And resources help.
So we had a win. We went, learned from the feedback you guys gave us last time, went to a chamber event yesterday, had 8 people that we showed our app to and 3 people signed up. So.
When I landed a client this week, got the contract signed. to everyone's feedback, it is now the highest paid individual client I've ever had. So you guys keep telling me to raise my prices, so I do.
Do it until you find the ceiling.
Yes, and then a resource, so I've mentioned Positive Intelligence for coaches, they had that free program. If you're not a coach and you're interested, just let me know. There's a 6-week program I can hook you up with, that I can facilitate now. And so if you are overwhelmed or stressed and you're wondering how you navigate that better, all better.
Zach here with Visible Hand. So we do safety products for psych hospitals, and we just launched our largest psych hospital yesterday in South Florida. And they're part of a chain that has 10 more psych hospitals. So if it goes well, it'll be 10 times our biggest client, I guess. So,
Ben,
I have a win and an ask. The win is the 1 Million Cups organizing team. So you guys all kick ass every week. Thank you. We had our coffee sponsor transition was seamless. We got our new sponsor, thanks to Dane's Fishing. And then, we got all of our digital content updated. We've got our new intro. So just thank you guys. You made it all super easy to make that roll over. The 1MC organizing team is awesome here. Thank you all.
thank you.
And then the ask is, I'm actually looking for work. So I've kind of like been poking around, but if anyone knows of any opportunities, I've got pretty broad experience and extensive background. So if anyone's looking for something or aware of something, you can, let me know.
You looking for specific?
Specifically? No.
Help you there.
Interesting problems, honestly. I'm looking for interesting problems. I've played in the corporate world, I've played in the startup world. I know got a pretty broad spectrum from supply chain logistics, strategic planning, operations. Basically anything besides sales and finance. Everything.
What are your hollows colors?
If I had to guess, probably white round. That's off of the brief description.
Like the rest of us.
One more resource. So Brian Hanning, he helped me get 3 trademarks in the past 1.5 years, and that process was way more cumbersome than I would have expected. So I was extremely grateful to have his help in that. So if you have something you're considering trademarking, don't go alone. Give Brian a call. Huge resource.
Awesome.
I second Brian Hanning. He's amazing. I send everyone to Brian. I have a win. I picked up a client this last week. He's a 2nd generation tree arborist. Dude's in the trades, you guys. I have an ask. My ask is that I'm looking to speak to dudes in the trades at conventions on a national level. And does anyone have or know of any conventions that contractors go to that I could look up other than what I'm finding organically?
Put in the chat. Yeah.
Dane says he'll send you some info, RJ.
Yay, thank you.
I can help you also, that with the contractors, wife's an architect, works with engineers, very, very plugged in. And I wanted a third, Brian.
All right, everyone who's been a client of Brian, raise your hand. Yeah. All right, so he's got a lot of support. I have a win.
Ooh.
I am going to India in May to do my training with for a company there. So it's not signed yet, but we had the meeting. It's happening. He told some people in another meeting that I was going. So yeah, super exciting. Yes.
I have an ask. I would like to have speaking opportunities, like small 30 minutes. I'm totally open to doing it for free. I want to get lots of experience. I've been going to Toastmasters and love public speaking, and I want to do more of it. So yeah, if you know of any local opportunities or virtual opportunities or any opportunities like that.
What's your topic?
I really like to talk about stress. I like to talk about. So I'm having one come up this weekend on downloads.
I have a win and an ask. When I have a new partner here in Fort Collins, which is pretty dope. It's a restaurant near CSU. And then an ask is being a part of the Fort Collins, I guess, Innisphere. It is tough to have like these conversations with like owners because they're rarely around. And they're like, I'm not taking a meeting with you, you're like a college kid, right? So the ask is like, if you guys know any small businesses that would be very interested in something that I do, that would be awesome. You know.
The ones, we're at 9:59. Perfect. Thank you. Good to see you all, but next, we had enough to do this morning.
Yeah, get the rest.